Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by. In this video I'm going to discuss the Black Hat and defcon infosec conferences that happen every year in Las Vegas back to back. I'm going to give you my thoughts on them, my analysis, and my recommendation. So in general, these conferences are held every year in Las Vegas in late July and early August. In 2020 they weren't held due to the pandemic and they were held virtually. And this year there's discussion about whether they're going to be held in person or virtually, depending on how the pandemic goes the rest of the year. One thing that's really interesting about both conferences is that even though they're back-to-back, they have just really distinct atmospheres about them, and I'll discuss more about that here in a second. So Black Hat this year is scheduled from July 31st to August 5th, and then the very next day, DEFCON starts. Black Hat's usually held at the Mandalay Bay. I believe ever since 2014 or 2015, it's been at the Mandalay Bay. And it's just a wonderful conference environment, in my opinion. The exhibit floor is great. The hotel is great. The resort is great. So I'm a big fan of the Mandalay Bay. Registration is roughly $2,000, and that's just for what are called the briefings. You can pay more for extra training, if you will. There are certainly training environments, training sessions before the briefings. This past year, actually in 2019, I went to a Chief Information Security Officer training session that was really good that I paid more for. And again, Black Hat's most known for the briefings, which are basically talks led by infosec experts. This is a picture from Black Hat 2019. So my favorite lecturer in general at Black Hat is a guy named Sean Metcalf. His handle is right there, Pyrotech3. He's also the owner of adsecurity.org. He also owns and runs Trimark Security. But Sean talks about Windows security. And so one of the reasons I highly recommend Black Hat or InfoSec conferences in general is that all of us are limited to our time and our ability to soak in knowledge. So even though I consider myself to be pretty up to date with Windows, Active Directory, and Microsoft Azure and cloud security, you have experts like Sean who spend their entire professional lives just focused on Windows security. So in effect, they're going to know more about these topics than you are. And so as a result, Sean, when I go to listen to his talks, I always learn something new. I always learn about best practices that I should be doing that maybe I'm either not doing or not up to date on. And so, yeah, for that reason, and not just Sean's great to listen to, but there are many other people in their various sub areas of security that could teach you. I think another favorite lecture of mine was from Black Hat 2015 with a really well-known researcher named Charlie Miller. Charlie is known for hacking the Apple iOS, Apple iPhone, Apple devices. And then him and a researcher named Chris Balasek demonstrated their hack of a Jeep Grand Cherokee where they were able to control the Jeep Grand Cherokee remotely from a laptop, able to make it brake and accelerate. And I believe this was the catalyst for Chrysler then going into the Jeep Grand Cherokee and fixing some of the security vulnerabilities that were there. But in general at Black Hat, you will get some really interesting discussions, even about, most likely about things you don't know about, because you probably can't know about the whole breadth of cybersecurity. Black Hat's definitely more buttoned up and corporate than DEFCON. You'll see at Black Hat more people in suit and ties, people just dress up in general. There's certainly, plenty of salespeople there who work the exhibit floor selling you things who try to look nice. But in general, Black Hat's, I would say, got more of your traditional conference feel. The exhibit floor at Black Hat's really cool and really interesting. I highly recommend it. If you have software that you're looking to learn about, go to the exhibit floor. You'll most likely see a demo there for that software. Another benefit of going to the exhibit floor is you'll get happy hour invites and exclusive invites to club events that you wouldn't be able to get into otherwise. So check out the exhibit floor. As far as that price tag, I would first start with your employer's budget to see if they can send you there, see if they can pay for the entry to the conference, see if they can help you pay for the hotel and the flight. Another option is to volunteer. In exchange for your time there, you'll be able to sit in on lectures and just get the general conference experience. Here's a slide from Sean Metcalf's 2019 presentation about securing Microsoft Azure and Microsoft O365. And I think this slide gives you an idea of just some of the best practices that that the experts here who speak are really good at giving you. Not only do they give you the information, but they present it really well. And again, this bullet point list is something I can take back to my organization and just go through and work on. So, again, just another vote for Sean Metcalf. DEFCON is scheduled to happen this year from August 5th through August 8th. It's usually on the Strip. I believe the past 2 years have been at Paris. And then I believe before that it was at the Rio. So anyway, in general, it's usually on the Strip or near the Strip. This year it's TBD as far as whether it'll be virtual or physical. The registration to get into DEF CON is a lot less expensive than Black Hat. It's roughly $250. Typically, when I register for Black Hat, I bundle in the DEF CON registration. If you go to DEF CON alone, you pay cash only. And I did say cash only. You can't pay with credit card. You don't pay with check. It's cash only. And they do that to remove some of the attribution for people who attend. If you want to attend more anonymously, you can do this by just paying cash. DEF CON also has expert-led talks, so you'll get lots of the same briefings at DEF CON that you'll see at Black Hat. So if you can't afford Black Hat, go to DEF CON at least. You'll get lots of the same talks, and so you'll get lots of the same benefit for less money. You also see plenty of non-standard conference experiences at DEF CON, and I'll talk about this here shortly. So here's I've got a picture of the DEF CON badge for getting into the conference, and as you can tell, it's definitely a different kind of badge, and this is definitely a different kind of conference. So I'll talk about that here more. DEF CON is certainly much more casual. Of the many non-standard things you'll see there, one of the things you'll see there is a mohawk station. So if you want to get your hair cut into a mohawk, you can do that at DEF CON. You'll see plenty of mohawks at DEF CON. As far as how to pay for it, again, look at your employer's budget or volunteer. DEF CON's got a ton of volunteers here, great. Look at that route. As far as my favorite DEF CON experiences, the briefings in general, I think are wonderful. I love sitting in on a good lecture from an expert to learn. Both Black Hat and DEF CON will have people who are very clever, what I consider to be clever hackers, who find and devise just clever ways to break into things. But you also get those people who are just into the stratosphere, brilliant, who can teach you a lot. Another experience I really like is the Sky Talks. Sky Talks are more, I would say, just heavily monitored by monitors within the room who walk around just to make sure you're not recording and make sure you're not taking pictures or video. You'll get lots of whistleblowers speaking at Sky Talks who speak about ethically questionable things that may have occurred at their companies. And then just in general, you get other discussions about just ethically questionable topics. So people are more free to talk in Sky Talks about these items that they may not want to be presented via video or picture in general on the internet or just in public. Something else that's cool at DEF CON is you'll see rooms full of computers set up, usually in the dark, usually with metal or EDM music playing, but you'll get people playing Capture the Flag. So you get some more experience there with hacking, trying to hack systems, and also trying to defend against people, so you get more of that red team, blue team experience. One of the other rooms I found interesting one year was an Internet of Things hacking room where people try to hack various Internet of Things devices. Like I mentioned before with that Jeep Grand Cherokee, well, there's not a Jeep Grand Cherokee there, or wasn't there, but just in general, you'll see more common devices that you'll see around the house there that people will be trying to hack into. And so one year people were able to hack into a pacemaker. And as you can imagine, that's a pretty dangerous thing if somebody's walking around with a pacemaker and that gets breached. So thankfully that year people were able to hack into the pacemaker and then responsibly disclose to the manufacturer what they were able to do. Another really interesting thing you see at DEF CON is lock picking. You'll see areas where people would just sit and play with locks and try to pick into locks. So that really, again, contributes and goes along with just the ethos of hacking at DEF CON. So in general, you'll see, just a very different atmosphere at DEF CON, a very non-standard conference atmosphere that's very different from Black Hat. And I really do enjoy going to both back-to-back. I think Black Hat's really cool, but then DEF CON, I almost feel like you can relax a bit more at DEF CON. Again, highly recommend both conferences. If you get the chance to go to both, go. If you can only go to one, go to DEF CON. Anyway, hope you found this video helpful. Subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video.